Let me tell you, if you ever see a shiny Range Rover parked sideways at the mailbox, blocking your old Ford, just go ahead and cancel your plans for the next year. That's how my day started. The day everything in Maplewood Estates flipped upside down, and the universe decided it was time for a little backwoods justice. Texas style. You'd think I'm making this up, but I swear, you can't invent drama like this. The morning was sharp, cold enough to sting your nose. Sunlight bouncing off chrome, so bright I had to squint. I'd barely shut off the engine when she appeared, Helena Whitmore, Maplewood's own queen bee. She floated out of her silver Range Rover like royalty, heels clacking on the driveway. That purse probably worth more than my entire truck. She didn't even fake a hello. Just eyed my beat-up Ford like it might leave oil stains on her precious asphalt. Then she waved a bright orange violation sticker in my face, smiled like I'd failed her test before I even tried. Could you move this project truck? Maybe park it down by the trailer park? Sweet as antifreeze. Every word a jab. Every look a dare. She slapped that sticker on my window with the kind of authority you don't get from money alone. Takes a special kind of meanness. Now, I could have argued. I could have peeled that sticker off and told her where to shove it. But all I did was grip the envelope I'd just pulled from the mailbox. Heavy paper. Morrison Estate Legal Affairs stamped right on the front. And for a split second, Helena's mask cracked. She recognized that name. Maybe even flinched. I just mumbled, "This land looks real familiar." Truth was, I'd spent my childhood racing up and down these hills back when Maplewood was nothing but grass, mesquite, and the echo of my granddad's laugh. And in my pocket, his old brass key dug into my thigh, like it was trying to remind me of something I'd forgotten. Helena turned away, called over her shoulder, "I trust we understand each other." She disappeared behind the gates. But that flicker in her eyes stuck with me. My granddad used to say, "Jake, they might buy houses, but the land always remembers whose name is on the deed." I thought it was just old man talk. Turns out, it was more of a prophecy. Back at my place, I finally opened that envelope. Heavy stuff. Serious seals. Old survey maps. Legal docs that smelled like must and secrets. Grandpa's voice rang in my head. Never sign anything when folks are being too nice. I always thought he meant car salesmen, not real estate developers. But the more I read, the more I saw it'd been training me for a fight I never saw coming. See, every inch of Maplewood, the mansions, the golf course, the imported Kentucky bluegrass sat on land my family had leased out way back when. Only problem? That lease had expired. Years ago. And here's the kicker. Helena Whitmore, who'd spent her morning making me feel like dirt, was living smack dab in the middle of Morrison land. She knew it, too. That's why she looked like she'd seen a ghost at the mailbox. That night, I dug out Grandpa's old safe, fumbled with the key till it clicked open. Inside were dusty blueprints, yellowed lease papers, and a hand-scrawled note. Land lease 1995-2035. Pinnacle Development defaulted 2005. The developers were supposed to pay rent, but somewhere along the line they stopped. All those fancy homeowners, they were basically squatters on a ticking time bomb. And the only road in and out? Still owned by my family. They were landlocked unless I said otherwise. I sat on the porch that night, looking down at the twinkle of porch lights across Maplewood. Whole community built on a lie. Grandpa's words came back. This land is always ours. I started to believe him. Helena's sticker war was about to become an all-out siege. Next day, I was down at the county courthouse with Maria Rodriguez, a clerk who knew every loophole in Texas property law. We dug through records, blew the dust off stacks of old filings. The deeper we got, the uglier it looked for Helena. Lease violations, forged signatures, hidden bankruptcy filings. Maria traced it all right back to Helena, who'd served as the developer's bankruptcy trustee. No wonder she'd been so eager to run me off the road. Did she give up? Not even close. She showed up at my door, attorney in tow, fake smiles all around. Tried to buy me out for a fraction of what the land was worth. $800,000 for the ranch. She purred, but the fine print would have stuck me with all their debts and legal messes. Grandpa's advice rang in my ears, and I turned her down flat. That's when Helena dropped the act. "You'll regret this. Jake Morrison," she hissed. Never trust anybody who calls you family one minute and a parasite the next. So, I got creative. If Helena wanted a fight, I'd give her one. I started asking around what's a private access road worth when it's the only way in or out of $1 million neighborhood. Turns out, the local hospital was desperate for a new emergency route. We inked the del 12.1 million. No HOA approval needed. Next morning, the Maplewood residents woke up to find the road blocked by hospital barriers. Ambulances came and went. BMWs and Teslas? Not so much. Cue the chaos. Helicopters whirred overhead. News vans rolled in. Helena couldn't sweet-talk her way past a security guard, let alone the cameras. Residents started looking up county records on their phones, figured out the truth. They didn't actually own the land their million-dollar houses sat on. It was all leased. And the lease had lapsed years ago. That night, I called a community meeting in the rec center. Projected those lease documents on the wall big, bold, impossible to ignore. And just when folks thought it couldn't get worse, I played a recording of Helena, on tape, admitting the cover-up. The room exploded. People shouted. Some cried. Margaret Foster, third-grade teacher, broke down in tears. Her whole life savings poured into a lie. Dr. David Kim, who'd moved here for the peace and quiet, looked like he might explode. That's when the police showed up. Helena in cuffs for fraud. Right there in front of everyone. She didn't say a word, just glared like she could set fire to the world with her eyes. In the weeks that followed, I made a simple offer: sell the land for real. This time, to the homeowners at a fair price. Most jumped at the chance. A few walked away, left their dream houses behind. The rest? They rebuilt Maplewood from the ground up. This time on truth. The air changed. People waved again, kids played in the street. For the first time, it felt like a real neighborhood. Not just a collection of strangers with perfect lawns and plastic smiles. 6 months later, I set up the Morrison Truth Foundation, used the profits from the hospital deal to help families across Texas who'd been trapped in the same kind of fraud. Turns out, Maplewood was just one of hundreds. The more cases we uncovered, the more I realized land fraud is everywhere. It hides behind nice gates, fancy titles, and a handshake you shouldn't trust. But one by one, we fought back. And Helena? She got 4 years in federal prison, lost her real estate license for good, and owed a mountain of restitution to the families she'd tricked. Her empire, built on sand, vanished overnight. Justice rolled right over her, just like one of those ambulances on my new emergency road. You know, the real lesson here? Arrogance is blind, but integrity always plays the long game. My grandfather's words, never trust a smile when money's on the table, saved not just our land, but a whole community's future. Sometimes karma doesn't just knock on your door, it changes the locks, reroutes the traffic, and leaves the crook on the wrong side of the gate. So, let me ask you, if you found out everything you'd worked for was built on a lie, would you go to war for the truth, even if it meant burning a few bridges? Where do you draw the line between fighting for what's yours and forgiving folks who were just fooled, not the ones doing the fooling? Drop your thoughts below. Was justice really served? Did I go too far? Or not far enough? And if you've ever tangled with an HOA, a con artist, or just plain old greed, tell me your story. Because, trust me, every community's got a secret. Sometimes all it takes is one mailbox showdown to drag it out into the sunlight.